Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Fantasy Life right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. A happy Friday to you all. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you right here for the next 2 hours, breaking down everything that we saw, or maybe what we didn't see, Adam, in Thursday night football in that game. And then, of course, getting you ready for week 4 in the NFL and across all of your fantasy football leagues. As always, we've got a great show planned out today. We're talking to Matt Forte later today, live and in person. Like, it's going to be a great day, Adam. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, definitely going to be a great day. Matt Forte was a fantasy force. He put up some big numbers for fantasy players.
I wonder who's on his fantasy. You think he plays fantasy and who's on his fantasy teams?
I don't know.
He does. Should that be our first question?
It could be in there. Yeah.
All right. I'll let you do it. But yeah, it's going to be a great day. Start sit questions we know are going to be coming in hot, so make sure you guys send those in to us. We got through a good amount yesterday, but just in case, at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, we'll open up the phone lines a little later. Yeah, it's gonna be a great day, Adam. Thursday night football. As a Seahawks fan, sweating a little bit. I thought that maybe it wasn't going to start out being a great day. I don't know. All of a sudden, you turn around and you say, "Wait a second, how the heck are the Arizona Cardinals still in this game?" Because from what I watched, it shouldn't have been that close. And that's kind of more on Seattle than anything else. But Seattle was able to kind of eke out a win over there, 23-20 for Thursday night. And that Cardinals offense at the beginning, I mean, we can start with the good or the bad, your choice, because Marvin Harrison Jr. finally it all came together. You could tell with that touchdown catch that he was relieved almost. And then Trey Benson, oh my gosh, I started him everywhere, Adam. It wasn't fun to watch, wasn't good.
Yeah, Seattle dominated this game, and way too often in the NFL, this happens where you're watching a game and for 3 quarters, one team is just dominant. And if you have that team, like I did when you're betting on the Seahawks money line, you're sitting there, you're like, oh, I know that they're just going to come back and make this a game somehow. And Seattle's going to make some dumb decision on 3rd down or whatever it is to get the Cardinals back in it. And that's exactly what happened. And you're sitting there like, I can't believe this, because it just happens way too much. But Seattle was able to survive. But yeah, there was a lot of things to take away. Trey Benson, I know it was frustrating if you used him, but the usage was there. And you just happen to see DeMarcado on that drive late. And I don't understand why they don't use Benson more, because he was playing that pass game role when Connor was in there. And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, we have to do what we were doing, and now we have to bring in DeMarcado. So part of it, too, was Arizona's offense just not functioning well early, where they couldn't sustain drives. Benson only 8 carries for 35 yards, did catch 5 passes for 19 yards to save his day. But this is also a good Seattle defense, too. So I would not be worried about Benson going forward. And if someone is panicking today, I would actually send offers to buy low on him.
Yeah, the Seahawks defense. I was looking up some stats this morning just to be able to paint the picture, but they're allowing only 16.8 points per game, which is the 4th lowest mark in the league. And then you're also looking at a team that hasn't allowed a rushing touchdown. And that performance last night kind of showed that too. So, Arizona's 3 running backs combined for 44 yards, and it wasn't necessarily pretty. Murray had 41 rushing yards, and 38 came on 4 scrambles. So it was difficult. I know I was playing Trey Benson. I was tweeting about the Xfinity best score, thinking, oh my gosh, maybe this could be it. But turns out, Amari DeMarcado, Trey Benson coming away with basically the same fantasy points for week 4, sitting around 10.1, 10.4 over on ESPN. But I'm not panicking, but it wasn't a great sign, especially if you lost guys, right? So last week was the week that running backs went down. If you had Najee Harris and you picked up Trey Benson, if you just had Trey Benson on your bench because of James Conner and you handcuffed them together, just wasn't as fun. But I'm with you, keeping the faith alive. I saw a tweet that said Trey Benson got the James Conner role, not the James Conner and Trey Benson role, like we maybe expected. So that was kind of the difference maker there. But Amari
he still caught 5 passes.
Yeah, for sure.
So
again, is still someone you can go. I mean, if he's still out there, we said that earlier in the week, but I would still go pick him up.
I just don't see how you can start him though. Like if he didn't have that touchdown, I mean, that's really all he did. He had 4 touches for 21 yards, and the touchdown is really what frustrated those with Benson. And So I don't think there's enough. And then with the Seahawks run defense, I mean, they've really shut down running backs. I mean, the most yards they've allowed to anyone this year was Christian McCaffrey, and it took 22 carries to get 69 yards. Where they
Mhm.
do struggle is pass catching running backs. McCaffrey had 9 receptions. Jalen Warren had 4 for 86. And you saw Benson with 5 receptions, only the 19 yards, but that's where you can get them a little bit. But yeah, it's a really good defense, and
Yeah.
I do have them in a league or two. Their defense, and I think they might be someone you could play almost every week.
You know what I didn't realize until watching this game, because we know that we get the rule changes and
The
everything,
Cardinals
but
are
the penalty.
boring. Is that what?
Well,
No,
that
what
too.
was
It
it?
wasn't great. It's not pretty. Really, I have only the slightest of Arizona Cardinals this season, but the penalty for not getting that kickoff into the landing zone is, I mean, start the
Massive.
Seahawks getting the ball at their own 40. Maybe I just didn't read it right, but I saw it and I said, "Wow, that's brutal." I mean, I know people are there's two sides of it, right? People are saying, well, just, do your job and get it in there and you're going to be fine. But I just did not think the penalty for that was that extreme.
Yeah,
Crazy.
especially in that situation late in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you knew okay now Seattle can get in field goal range, even though they did miss the 53 yarder
Yeah.
Jason Myers before that, but was able to get the winning field goal there. But yeah, that was massive. And as someone on the Seahawks money line, I was okay with that.
You were like, "Oh, okay, I actually like this rule this week. If it's next week and it's different, it's going to be different." But Marvin Harrison Jr., just to finish off with the Cardinals here. You saw it at the beginning. It looked really bad. We were texting back and forth. There was a miscommunication with Murray that led to an interception with Marvin Harrison, and then he dropped another pass, and I think it was Ernest Jones that got that in the second quarter. It was just brutal. And then all of a sudden you turn around and you say, okay, he caught 4 passes for 42 yards in the fourth quarter. And that 16-yard touchdown was obviously a relief. Like, you could see it in the end zone, Adam, when they put the cameras on him. He just looked like he was relieved to be able to come down with that one. So again, still a loss for the Arizona Cardinals, and it's not a great place for them to be in going forward. But if you do have Marvin Harrison Jr., if you're Marvin Harrison Jr. manager, you were happy to see it turn around. At least he got you around 18 fantasy points in that game.
Oh yeah, because it looked bad early. Like one
It
catch for
didn't
eight
look good.
yards, the
Yeah.
dropped bobbled pass leading to the interception, the other intended target on Murray's other interception. So you're sitting there, you're like, oh no, everyone's like, cut him, I don't want him. And then he did bounce back. You give him that. It was a nice touchdown catch, a contested play where he came with it, and he was absolutely relieved. You could see him like praying, thank goodness I caught that
I did the same
finally.
thing.
So yeah, look, he had 10 targets, so you like to see that, but it's probably still going to be a bumpy ride this year. So now it's 2 good games, 2 down games. And again, this Cardinals offense is just brutal to watch right now. This was one of those games, if you just look at the box score, you're like, oh, okay, it wasn't a bad game. It was a bad game. I mean,
It
the
was
first
bad.
3 quarters were absolutely abysmal. Again, this is Kyler Murray, I guess, in a nutshell, because he wound up finishing with a decent fantasy day. 200 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 41 yards. So it didn't look like he was going to get there after the first 3 quarters, but he found a way. But it's not good watching the Cardinals. It looks like the same as it was last year.
Drew Petzing does not do anyone any favors, though. And it's not to bail out Kyler Murray, but he doesn't do Kyler Murray any favors. You have to know what you're working with, right? I mean, he's like listed as 5'10". If he's 5'10", we'll see. But like, you are obviously know that there's a height, disadvantage. And so to me, I would sometimes watch what they're trying to do, and it's just, yeah, he does no favors, but it's the same thing that we saw last season as well.
Yeah, a
It's
lot of
brutal.
passes batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you would see after last year wasn't working that you need to make some changes. And not even many changes in the personnel either.
No, he had 116 passing yards, averaged 4 yards per attempt through the first 3 quarters. But then he was also 2 of 9 for 33 yards with 2 interceptions and a 2.8 passer rating on throws of 10 plus air yards. Also, that's the first 3 quarters. It just wasn't good. But I mean, at least if you had to start him, at least you got something out of him, right? At 16 fantasy points, not great, not pretty, but I know that if you're in a tough spot and Kyler Murray was your quarterback, you might have just looked and said, I don't have better options.
Yeah, look, he's very frustrating to roster. You could look at we talked about it a lot in the preseason. You could look at the final numbers at the end of the year, and people always like, oh, he was QB 12, QB 13. But the path to get there is absolutely a roller coaster. And there's just too many weeks where you're just not getting enough. And I think that's where kind of people get misled when they look at
Yeah.
the total numbers from the previous season. It's like, oh, he finished his QB. He's always around top 12 QB. He is running a little bit more. And thank goodness he made that last run because I was on his rushing prop and
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh, you had
And
a
he
good
had,
day then.
yeah, it was two
Yeah.
bets in the game,
There you
Hippo.
go.
Yeah, he had that 29-yard run, and he did. Remember, he did say he was going to run more this year. That last year he didn't feel comfortable coming off the ACL injury, so. The rushing yards, he's got at least 32 rushing yards now in each of the 4 games,
Nice.
and is averaging about a little over 6 rushing attempts per game. So that's the one positive. But I mean, look at these yards: 163, 220, 159, 200 yards per pass attempt, 5.7. So
Woof. Woof.
it's probably going to be the same thing where at the end of the year, we're going to be like, oh, he finished around QB 12 in points per game. He wasn't that bad. But if you have him on your roster, you know that it's so misleading.
Yeah, it's just like last season. He finished as the overall QB 12, but you said it. If you were a manager of him every single week, you never got consistency out of him. It was never 2 good games in a row. So it feels like that's going to be the same thing this year. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. is at least cheaper next year, though. And maybe we can look forward to that.
Probably. Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
right
we
now,
thought he should be this year, but I don't know.
well, I don't know. He could still finish with a good year, though.
No, no,
I
no,
mean,
in
again,
the
now,
beginning of the season, like when we were drafting, I thought he would be cheaper based on
yeah, I did too.
what happened last season.
Yeah, right now, Murray is QB 15 in points per game with 6 points for a passing touchdown. So he probably moves up in 4 a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I mean, still,
the
the
rushing is
numbers
there.
it's not been good.
No, but you're right. I mean, seven carries, 7, 6, 5, 38 rushing yards, 32, 37, 41. So at least that's there on the ground. But yeah, passing anything through the air, it hasn't necessarily been pretty. But at least, again, Marvin Harrison Jr. managers, sigh of relief. You at least got some fantasy points from him, and started out being brutal. What did you see from Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet here? So we know that Zach Charbonnet was able to play in this game last week. We did not see him because of that toe injury. But he continued to be the primary passing down back, something that I think we're looking at here. And he's what do you think? I know Kenneth Walker managers. I saw all the tweets last night are a little frustrated, but it feels like it's going to be like this when they're both on the field and healthy.
It would. You're seeing Charbonnet get too much goal line work. That's
Yeah,
a problem. We saw him almost have a second touchdown too. I mean, it's clear Walker is better, but
yeah,
look, Walker had 20 touches. Anytime a running back gets 20 touches, it's tough to complain, but too much Charbonnet near the goal line. And passing situations more too. Like Charbonnet didn't have a target coming into this game, and then 2 targets in this game, 2 for 5. Walker
mhm,
had 1 catch for 29 yards. That was on the first drive. Uh, so you could understand why those with Walker are frustrated because you're seeing a little too much Charbonnet. Again, still more Walker, but you're going to need to see Walker more near the goal line because if Charbonnet is going to be in there that much, it's going to be a problem. Again, Walker's still a guy that you're starting, but you are hoping that it would be more in his favor. And you're seeing too much Charbonnet right now.
I think it's difficult. So the thing with Walker that I was looking at is it's difficult with if this is how it's going to go with Charbonnet, continuing to see all the goal line work and everything that you just said. It's hard for me, at least, to be able to look at the rankings going forward and being able to put him as a top 10 option.
Oh, you
Because that's the
can't.
thing.
You can't put him at
You
top
just
10.
it's one of those things where you look and you're like, oh man, he is the better running back, and that's the thing. And he's stayed healthy so far this season, which is great. And it's what his fantasy managers have wanted to see. Same with me, but it's just yeah, Zach Charbonnet getting all that goal line work is just taking away. They reached double digit carries, but again, Walker was better on the per play basis. That's the other thing that I saw from PFF. And he was just the bigger playmaker, but Charbonnet is just going to be the thorn in his side, it feels like all season.
Yeah, they had 5 carries inside the 5. Charbonnet had all of them. And Charbonnet was playing a
Crazy.
lot on third down too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the snaps were 50% Walker, 47% Charbonnet. But I mean, like I said, usually running back gets 20 touches, you're pretty happy, but we've seen this is basically a split more in the favor of Walker, but if he's going to lose that much goal line work and third down work, it is going to hurt his numbers. I mean, he came through with a double-digit points, but again, Charbonnet got the touchdown.
Yeah, it's they're in the same place. They almost had identical fantasy finishes this week. So
Now, I mean, on a short week for Walker to get 20 touches,
yeah,
considering his health history, I think that's a good sign. I mean, obviously, you don't want to give a guy 25, 30 touches with his history on a short week.
hmm
Maybe that played into it, but based on what we saw yesterday, it's just too much goal line and third down work for Charbonnet, and that's and then you get a game like this for Walker where you're like, oh, he had 20 touches. What did he do? Oh, like 10, 11
yeah,
points in
don't
PPR.
look.
Cool.
Exactly. Seahawks next three. They are at home against Tampa Bay. They're on the road against Jacksonville, and then they are playing against the Texans. I'm making sure they don't
Sounds
have a
like three
bye
straight
in that.
losses for you.
Hey,
Sorry.
whoa! What
Nah,
are we
I'm just kidding.
talking about? Already this morning? That's what we're gonna do? No, those will be good games. Two at home. Jacksonville, come on, that'll be fine. No buys in that one. I said a team the other day. I think it was the Packers. They might get a buy here
I think they have
soon,
a
but
bye next week.
yeah, I think I had said that they were playing next week because I was just looking at the schedule, but they have a bye. So it's 2 weeks from now. Someone pointed that out. Shout out to whoever did that. But yeah, that's the next three for Seattle. And then just finishing up on this game, at least for Jackson Smith and Jigba managers, you were also happy towards the end with that performance. But again, 13 fantasy points, not the best day, but at least you got a little something at the
Yeah,
beginning.
you and him had the
Hurt.
same stat line at halftime.
I
No
know. Look at
targets,
us.
no receptions. Oh, wait, he did have a 2 yard
Well,
run. I
I
don't
could have
think
done
you
that.
did.
I could have done
Uh,
that though.
but yeah, in the end, he wound up finishing with a decent game considering, they gave him a lot of attention, and that's probably going to
Mhm.
happen a little bit going forward. But you'll take 4 for 79, 3 carries for 11 yards, although I'm sure a lot of people expected him to score a touchdown in this matchup. But he came through with a couple of big catches, that third
Yeah,
down
he did.
catch. And yeah, Seattle a little too conservative on that drive. When they
I
settled for the
know.
field goal, they were
I was
running it
ready
on
to
third
text
down.
you,
You
and then I was
just, I
pissed.
know, because I was going
No,
crazy. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you
I
just were
know.
aggressive on, I think, the previous third down to JSN along the sideline. Like, be aggressive. And I'll
I
say
know.
Darnold looks good.
Yeah, he does look good. I mean, he's doing well. That's the one thing. This defense is, I think, the defense on the other side is just really. It's really
Yeah.
nice to have a defense looking like that. So far this season, they've obviously kept him in some really good places, and so yeah, if this offense is able to do what they've been able to do, Jackson Smith and Jigba, because it was that 22-yard catch that set up the game winner for Meyers. So again, if they're able to continue doing that, yeah, Sam Darnold looks good. I mean, he's what you want out of paying all that money for him and stuff. So I have nothing bad to say about him right now.
Again, the test for him is big games late in the
I
season.
know.
And if he
Don't
gets to the playoffs,
I don't want to
that's
I
going
don't
to
want
be
to
the
talk
test.
about
And we
him.
saw it did not go well last year.
Why'd you have to bring it up?
I'm
In that
just
in that
saying.
same stadium too, right? That was the stadium that game was, where he melted down.
Was it?
The Cardinals, wasn't it?
No, wasn't it
No?
Detroit was
Or
one of them, and I can't remember the other game.
I
It was
just
2 games late
remember
in the
I saw
year.
tweets last night that were saying this is where it kind of ended for him. So I can't really remember. But yeah, he looks good so far. Again, it's 18 of 26, 242, and one touchdown. You'll take it. You're not starting him in fantasy, but you'll take it.
Yeah,
Maybe a
like,
streamer.
and you saw when he needed to make the throws, he did. He
hmm
looks composed. He doesn't seem rattled by the pressure right now. But again, the test will be against the tougher defenses in the big spots, and
Yep.
that's probably one of the reasons why Minnesota moved on.
Probably, but we don't have to talk about that yet. We're not even close to playoff Sam Darnold, so I don't need to worry about it just yet. But yeah, Trey Benson managers, it's going to be all right. But listen, we did the same thing, started last night, and we'll just watch the film get a little bit better. Let's go through matchup highlights here, Adam. Highlights and lowlights. I want to go through the Raiders going up against the Bears, the Bengals going up against the Broncos. Who should we start? Who should we sit in these games? Also checking over there on X, I see some questions coming in at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. So we'll make sure to get through those. We're doing all of that coming up here next. Hopefully everyone's having a great start to their Friday. We are here getting you ready for week 4 in the NFL and getting all of your lineups hopefully set. If you've got teams playing though, or players playing for the Sunday morning games, just make sure, Adam, I already had a nightmare about it. Just set the lineup Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon. Don't be the person that wakes up and the game's on and you're like, "Oh no. My lineup's not set. It's always the worst.
It has happened to people before, so just note that we now have a 9:30 a.m. Eastern game the next 4 weeks. So,
4?
yeah, at
Oh,
least 4. I remember we were looking at it yesterday, and I
I
was like, "Wait,
know.
are you kidding me? 4?" Yeah. Let me see.
Brutal.
Definitely
Get
weeks
those
4,
waivers
5,
in
6,
too.
7. Hopefully nothing week 8. No,
You
so
have to
week 8.
wake
So
up
the next
early.
4 straight weeks, we have a game overseas beginning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, make sure you set your lineups. Do it today. Set a preliminary one or
Yeah.
Saturday night, whatever works. But in case you are sleeping past that hour on Sunday, you don't want to wake up and be like, "Oh no, I left Jordan Mason out of my
Just
lineup."
just like Adam. No, just kidding. You
Me,
have to
I've
work.
never
I
done
know.
that.
No. I meant sleeping in.
Oh, I don't even
No,
get to
you
do
set
that
your
anymore.
lineups. I
And
know.
I'll
It's
be I'll
sad.
be here Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern.
That's true. I won't be. I'll still be a little bit asleep. But yeah, Viking Steelers, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. So make sure you have everything set for that. I wanted to go through some matchup highlights and maybe some lowlights here that I've seen going around. Questions again at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there, and we'll open up the phone lines here in a little bit. But wanted to just go through some matchups to maybe avoid matchups that are just going to be a little bit more difficult, and then some highlights here, starting with Ja'Marr Chase. It feels like, Adam, if you have Ja'Marr Chase, unfortunately you saw Jake Browning, and it was not a good week last week in his start for the injured Joe Burrow. But now this team is going up against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are at home in this one. So you know that Ja'Marr Chase is going to get Pat Surtain. He's allowed a combined 11.7 points on 8 targets, and that's Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman Jr., Quentin Johnston. And it's not great. But to me, Adam, if you have Ja'Marr Chase, it almost, unless you have better options, which it might be difficult, are you someone that says go ahead and sit Ja'Marr Chase in this matchup?
No, I mean he might be lower than you've ever seen him. But I could see a case for putting him like wide receiver 8, 9, or 10, which means you're
Yeah.
probably still starting him. And again, I don't know any scenario where you have better options than him. I think the expectations need to be lowered. We did see Quentin Johnston actually put up some yards on Surtain last week, but yeah, it's a tough matchup. And then you couple it with Browning at quarterback after what we saw last week on the road in Denver. So it's not the ideal matchup. So you're not probably playing him in DFS, but in season long leagues, if you have him, you're likely starting him understanding that you're probably not going to get a ceiling game from him this week.
Ja'Marr Chase, the last time, it was 5.7 points on 6 targets with Surtain as the nearest defender, and that was week 17. So probably, yeah, like you said, lower expectations. I have him as wide receiver 6. Jefferson ahead, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, woof, Puka Nacua. My
Yeah,
guys ahead
and
of
I
him.
mean, I doubt there might be a couple of teams that have both of them, but like, I mean, I don't see enough receivers that you're going to play over Chase. What you hope is this is the week you play against Chase in fantasy.
Yeah, fair.
Now
Fair
watch him
enough.
go off for like
Stop. Yeah.
120 and
You
3
do this
touchdowns.
you do this sometimes and we come back and we say, "Wait, what happened here?" Fair enough. So we'll see. T Higgins, where is he for you this week? That might be one where it gets a little bit more interesting. Again, it's always tough because we can't see all of your lineups, unfortunately, but T Higgins going up in this game. We've got him consensus wide receiver 34 this week, which feels about right. I've got him as wide receiver 33. And I'm a little bit higher than some of our other rankers for week 4. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a guy that was being taken often in round 3, and you understand now that you're not going to see that many weeks. Now, if Surtain is going to be shadowing Chase, then that would open things up for Higgins. So maybe he has a better game than anticipated. But yeah, with this Bengals offense and the offensive line right now, you're just lowering expectations for all these guys. We know Browning had a stretch in 2023 where he was good. Last week it was brutal. Again, tough matchup against that Minnesota defense. We know the Denver defense is good. It hasn't played to the level we might have anticipated going
Yeah.
into the year, but you hope that it can get better for Higgins. And yeah, he's in the wide receiver 3 conversation.
He does have the better matchup though, so maybe he
Yes.
benefits. Maybe he is able to benefit this weekend. So again, a tough one for Ja'Marr Chase, T Higgins, the Bengals in general, going over to the Broncos. Broncos though, I mean, Bo Nix. We talked about Bo Nix yesterday. It hasn't been necessarily pretty. That's not, I mean, that's not us saying that about the defense, because we know their defense is still just going to be phenomenal. But for Bo Nix and that side of the ball, like it hasn't been good for him. He has not put up good fantasy numbers for his managers. So you're also hoping that he's able to walk away with, this should be a get right game for them as well, going up against this Bengals defense. If you don't see it this week, you start to get a little bit more worried.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good start to the season for Bo Nix. He's missed a lot of throws, and he's struggling out there right now. And this is the game that they do need to get right. I mean, you're at home against this Bengals defense. You got to see a good game from him this week, because he's been a tough start for him so far. Just 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and it could be worse.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal for him. So again, he's someone that, if you look at I'm curious where we have him actually in our rankings. If you picked up someone like Daniel Jones, maybe you're looking a different direction, which is crazy to say. We actually have Daniel Jones a little bit higher this week. We've got him consensus QB 10, but Bo Nix is pretty close next to him. He's consensus QB 12. So just hoping that this is the get right game for him. What about we've been talking a lot about Trey Tucker, but what about Jacoby Myers going up against the Bears? This should be another game where hopefully we get some fantasy fireworks on the side of the Las Vegas Raiders. They have struggled without Jalen Johnson there. We talked about that last week. They've given up the 4th most fantasy points per game, 2nd most points per target to opposing wide receivers. So I know a lot of people picked up, or they have Trey Tucker and they're excited about it, but also can't forget about someone like Jacoby Myers on this game.
Yeah, the Bears defense has had a lot of injuries, and it's one that you want to exploit. They've allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to wide receivers per game. Obviously, last week, the numbers went down a little bit because CeeDee Lamb went out and Dallas really struggled. Pickens did come through with a touchdown and 68 yards. Then the Lions game, they allowed 2 100-yard receivers. So this is a matchup they can take advantage of. I would expect them. I also think they definitely want to get Ashton Jeanty going this week.
I would hope so. Finally, can we do that? Is that
Yes.
allowed? I don't know. I don't know if it's allowed. We
If
haven't.
not, there is going to be so much panic. It's already begun, but if he has another bad week, oh my goodness, it's going to be ugly.
Oh, can you imagine? We can't put that out there. Take that back.
No,
What are
I
we
think he has
doing?
a good week.
Okay, thank you. I was like, what are we doing? I mean, you're right though. It hasn't, well, we've talked for the last couple weeks. That's really been a topic of conversation with all the rookie running backs. When is one of them gonna come out? And funny enough, but not funny, it's Quinshon Judkins could be the one that you're just like feeling the most confidence in right now, which is again crazy that we're there. But you have to expect or hope that the Raiders do get him going, or else we're gonna have, it's going to be brutal. If you go through 4 weeks without a big Ashton Jeanty game where you picked him, I mean, he's already right now. It's really hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel where you get his ADP paid off. If we go into week 5 and we have to still be talking about him not having the kind of role that we expected, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, the offensive line has been worse than we thought.
Hmm.
It has not been good. He's getting hit a lot behind the line of scrimmage, just 3.1 yards per carry. Scored a touchdown in week 1, 2 straight weeks without a touchdown. And then the worst part is no targets last week. That is really the
Brutal.
biggest factor. It's one thing if you're scoring touchdowns, but if you're not scoring touchdowns, you're not picking up the yards per carry, and you're not involved in the pass game. This is where it's just kind of all falling apart for him so far. So we need to see a big Genty game.
Don't worry. We'll get James Cook against the Saints. Last one here, just a matchup highlight. I mean, we don't usually talk about the guys that you just know you're automatically starting, but I did just need to shout out James Cook here because the Bills are going up against the Saints. It's they're the biggest underdogs that they've ever been since, what did I say this week? 1975, I think it was. It's just crazy. So he has the NFL high 4 touchdowns right now, 355 yards, and it's looking good. He and Christian McCaffrey are the only running backs this year with 18 plus fantasy points in every single game. So go off, James Cook. Regression where? Regression who? He's like, not me.
The Saints have actually not given up a lot of yards to running
Oh,
backs.
okay.
Believe it or not, the most they've allowed to a single back is Trey Benson, 8 carries for 69 yards. They held McCaffrey to
Great.
55. Kenneth Walker to 38 on 16 carries, but you don't care because the
Yeah.
touchdowns are probably going to come and even some of the receptions, and it's James Cook and his Bills offense. So I don't think matchups matter for them at this point. And with Cook, if you have him this week, you're just hoping that the game stays close enough that he gets enough volume. Because you could see a situation where maybe midway through the third quarter, he's on the bench.
Yeah. I think the team total last time I looked was sitting at 32. James Cook like minus 200 to score a touchdown this week. So, and they're 16 and a half point home favorites. It's crazy. The thing I have to start. So one of my 6 starts that I have to do this weekend is Rashid Shaheed. So I'm just hoping that maybe they try and stay in it, and they're going to be in that negative game script the whole entire time. So they just say, here, Rashid Shaheed, here, Chris Olave, let's get something going. But I don't know. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, we've seen that with Olave and Jawan Johnson, but Shaheed's targets have gone down a little bit.
Hmm.
Like you would figure last week was a game script for that, and he had 4 for 42.
Yep. No, trust me, I know. I was looking I was looking at my fantasy points and it wasn't great. So James Cook, though, just a shout out to him and how good he's been through the first few weeks of the season here. We're going to continue going through some matchup highlights, some maybe potential lowlights here, ones that you want to avoid, and the biggest week 4 questions as well. We're going to do all of that here coming up next. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. That's right, football fans. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. And this Sunday at 4:25 Eastern, it's a must-see matchup between former MVPs when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens fly into Arrowhead Stadium to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today and count on Sundays for another must-see season of the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Oh, it sure is. We are here to help you dominate week 4 in the NFL for all of your fantasy teams. Appreciate everyone sending in questions here at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. And just remember, you can go to fantasylife.com. Not only can you sign up for that newsletter, but all of our tools there are going to help you continue to do well in fantasy this season. So make sure you head over there. If you can't call us in today, if you can't send us a message, we've got tools like the Start Sit tool that will help you make those decisions a little bit easier. We've got our projections, waiver wire analysis, our rankings, everything that you need. So again, SXM20 gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus Tier 1 or Tier 2 subscription. So make sure you head over there. Biased Adam, but I think that's pretty good stuff. Got big questions going into this weekend for a lot of different players. I think one we mentioned earlier in the week because we got the news that Jaxson Dart is getting the start, but look at that. I can rhyme. But Jaxson Dart, what are the expectations for him this week? And I think that is going to be one of the bigger questions. We know that Brian Daboll said that they are planning on starting Jaxson Dart for the rest of the season. So again, when we talked earlier in the week, I think Malik Neighbors is kind of a hold, Wan'Dale Robinson as well. And you can maybe get a little bit on the ground from Dart. If you're in a super flex format, I could see someone looking to start him. Anywhere else, though, probably not.
Yeah, look, he could easily go out there and have a really good game and inject some life into this Giants offense, but it's always tough with these rookies because it is a tougher matchup here.
Yeah.
Chargers defense playing very well right now. And, they are a West Coast team coming to the East. They're coming off 3 division games. So it is a spot where maybe you see a letdown and maybe the offense for the Giants looks a lot better. But yeah, I think I saw him picked up in a lot of leagues this week, and there was some big money spent on him in the high stakes leagues. But I mean, you could understand it if you're struggling at a quarterback or you want to take a shot on a guy that can run and will probably be playing in a lot of game scripts where they're playing from behind. They're going to have to pass. He does have some weapons there, so you could understand. And it might not work out, but you're just taking that chance. And he got rave reviews in the preseason. So yeah, I would have picked him up. I'm sure he's gone in a lot of leagues now. It is a tough start though this week for sure. In this matchup, gets a better matchup next week, even though it is on the road against the Saints, and then Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. So there are some tough matchups ahead. Perfect. But it is going to be fun to watch them.
It will be. And like you said, weirder things have happened where a quarterback comes in, and then, like you said, it just gives the team a little bit of new life. And so for Jaxson Dart and us in our projections at fantasylife.com, 208 yards, 1.3 passing touchdowns, and then 12.9 yards on the ground for him as well, is the expectations there. So Not great, not amazing, but or no, I'm sorry, 25.6 yards on the ground for him. So that's what we're looking at potentially. And again, I think Malik Neighbors, if you're looking at everyone else, still a mid-tier wide receiver 1. That's where I have him in my rankings this weekend. Wan'Dale Robinson, low end wide receiver 3, and then everyone else. I don't think people are turning to Darius Slayton, but maybe a wide receiver 5. And then we just hope for a big Cam Skattebo game. A good Jaxson Dart game and a Cam Skattebo game. What more could we ask for, Adam? Not much.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be starting Skattebo this week. I've already gotten some questions on him. And, the volume is going to be there for sure. We saw it last week when Tracy exited the game with that shoulder injury. It was already starting to be essentially a takeover anyway, where we were seeing more Skattebo. It is a tough matchup here against the Chargers, but, a touchdown could change that if he stays involved in the passing game as well. So he's definitely in the RB2 area this week.
Yeah, Chargers have been the third hardest matchup for opposing running backs. They've held their opponents to 3.8 points below their season average. So again, we love Cam Skattebo on this show, but just know I think the Xfinity best ceiling projection, and that is the absolute best that maybe we can see come out of this game for the projections, 29.2 points, but the median is more sitting at 12.8. So just know your expectations with Cam this weekend, but he does upgrade to maybe that mid-range RB2, like you just said there, Adam. So excited about that one nonetheless. Xavier Worthy, I've seen a lot of questions on him as well. If he's able to go, how effective do you think he's going to be? We've heard that, we saw him with the big, brace on. They said that maybe he's going to be playing with a harness as well. So that's the one thing that worries me with him. Tyquan Thornton's coming on, and maybe they turn to Thornton, obviously, because obviously he ranks 3rd in air yards, 5th in air yards share at 49%. So he's really been a go-to guy while Xavier Worthy's been out. So if you have him, it's really just asking the question of how effective he could be and if you have better options.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. I have Worthy in a couple leagues, and I am hurting in some of those. So he has put in a full practice. He was listed as a full participant on Thursday. So I would think they believe he's ready to go. They probably wanted to play him last week, and they said, you know what? We are playing the Giants. We can probably beat them without him. They obviously need him this week against the Ravens. So, he's probably in the wide receiver 3 area where that there's some risk. So I want to see further reports to see if there's any limitations. But if they're going to put him out there, you got to think that they believe he's fine. And they desperately need him. I mean, this offense has just looked pathetic. I mean, it's been really bad. They've been tough to watch. It's like reminiscent of a couple years ago when they had no wide receivers. We keep saying, this Chiefs offense is going to be better. Can't wait to see everyone healthy. And they just never have these players completely healthy. And it's a big game for them because we talked about it, how the loser of this Chiefs-Ravens game goes to 1-3. If the Ravens go to 1-3, I still think they win the division. If the Chiefs do, boy, I don't see it, especially if the Chargers can improve to 4-0 this week. So it's really more of an important game for the Chiefs here.
Yeah, and again, Xavier Worthy, if he does return to action, we'll have to see what the practice reports are today, but it was a great update to get that he practiced in full yesterday. What for him, if he is able to come back, because that's the unknown, right? Okay, if he comes back, what does that do for Tyquan Thornton? A lot of people picked him up as well, because he has emerged as one of their top playmakers. I know we can say that's just because, Rashee Rice isn't there, because Xavier Worthy isn't out there, but he's given you 13.9, 18.1 points, 19% and 27% target shares, and leads the team in air yards at 53%. So it's a little bit of an unknown, but are you still playing Tyquan Thornton if Xavier Worthy's good to go as well?
If you really need him, I think there's a league I might need to. I have to look at my other options. They have been taking the shots deep to him, so he's still involved. And they're still thin. I mean, Travis Kelce's not getting the job done. I mean, Juju probably sees less. Not that he was doing much, but he was getting a few catches here or there. So he definitely moves down the rankings for sure.
We've got Xavier Worthy, wide receiver 36 going into the weekend, and then Tyquan Thornton looking around 50. If it holds again, we have to just wait and confirm with Xavier Worthy. But again, big questions going into this weekend. We'll continue to answer those and your questions as well. Want to go through defenses to stream this weekend, Adam? Some teams that you could maybe go and pick up here for the weekend going into week 4. We're going to do that here coming up right after this. As always, appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your Friday, going through some defenses to stream this weekend if you need it, and of course, going through some of your questions. I see one on here that I definitely want to get to from Brandon. Brandon, appreciate you listening to us. Said need one in the flex full point PPR. Cedric Tillman, Christian Kirk, or Andrews, Mark Andrews. Ooh, Mark Andrews against the Chiefs. They hold him down. But maybe it's a little bit different this weekend.
You might have.
Might be Kirk.
I want to say Kirk against Tennessee. They get him more involved because they really need him.
But
it's Christian Kirk and the Texans. Tillman against Detroit. I mean, they should be playing from behind. I'll probably go Tillman.
Okay.
Was he on the injury report though? I thought I saw that, or I saw he was banged up. I didn't see he was danger of missing, but let me see. He was limited in practice by a hand injury.
Look at us. Love that.
So I guess keep that in mind, but
yeah, Mark Andrews, because you got the big game from him last week, so you're hoping that you're able to get it again. But again, when they've met each other, it hasn't necessarily been the prettiest for Mark Andrews in that one. But they're pretty close across the board. 8.6 fantasy points for Tillman, projected at FantasyLife.com. 8.8 for Mark Andrews, and then 9.8 for Christian Kirk. But like you said, it's Christian Kirk. And
we went over this, but like if you look, Kansas City gives up the fourth fewest fantasy points to the tight end position. Look at who they faced. The Chargers. Conklin had 2 for 50. Philly with no Goddard. Kyle Granson, 1 catch, 5 yards. And the Giants with Theo Johnson, 1 catch for 10 yards. That is so misleading. You cannot use that, and I think too many people do.
But Mark Andrews historically against the Chiefs, I think, is still bad. It's not great. Let me look up some
Their
numbers.
defense is good. I look, and for Andrews, you're just hoping that he gets a red zone target and scores a touchdown.
He's had 13 catches for 108 yards in 5 games in his career against the Chiefs.
All right,
maybe this is the week. No, I'm just saying.
It could be. I think that. No, I think
the projections
close.
are putting that. I think the projections are putting that into consideration. That it's been the last time he was. Yeah, the last time he was out there was last September of last season. He had 2 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards. I wonder when that game was. Though.
Forget
was that an early?
I think I would go Andrews.
Okay.
Don't go Tillman.
All right. I like it. Was that might have been an early, when he was struggling early in the season last year. I can't remember when that game was, but good, great question there. Again, send as many as you can in at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. I've gotten a lot of Nick Chubb questions, Adam, because you said start him yesterday, and it was
whoa, slow down. Don't mislead people.
Hang on, I'm just gonna finish the sentence. It was based on the matchup, but I still think it's funny that I'm like, oh no, too many Nick Chubb questions, but I kind of get it, unfortunately. So maybe we'll get some more Nick Chubb questions. Who was it
this is the first week where I would actually consider him, just because of the matchup. He's not someone that I feel good about. He has not looked good. I mean, Tennessee has struggled against the run. Now they face some good running backs, and I wouldn't say Nick Chubb is a good running back right now, but to me, he's like around like the RB 30 area. So when he's in that range, you can consider him.
Yes, you can just say he's a must start. You can go ahead.
No, I didn't say any of that. Slow down.
I don't know. I think that's what I'm hearing right now is must start going up against the Tennessee Titans. But you do understand with the matchup that it could be potentially better for you. Again, depending on who you have. Any defensive streamers that you like going into this weekend? I've seen people bring up potentially the Patriots. I know they're pretty widely rostered. I see him at 49% on ESPN. The Patriots also 27% rostered. Those were the two that I just wanted to bring up to you. Or maybe the Browns. They're sitting at 1.7% rostered on ESPN.
You can't do that against Detroit. I think Detroit's a good one. They're actually out there. I was surprised.
Are they?
Yeah, I seen in a league they were out there. I'm sure the Texans are rostered. The Bills, Broncos.
Yeah, all the
Patriots.
Well, we can say all the good ones probably are rostered. Patriots, I don't know.
I've been holding them.
They're only 27% right now.
I have them going against you this week.
Oh, great. Well, then I hope they do horribly. I hope they're really bad because I want this win so badly in GST. I think they could be a potential good one. Again, the Patriots for sure could be one.
Defenses have been so tough because, again, you're
Defense
relying
wise.
on touchdowns are big. I mean, look at Minnesota's game last week. So you're looking for positive game script where the team's playing from ahead. They can rush the passer, get some sacks and turnovers. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you enjoy playing with defenses?
Nope, sure
Yeah, I
don't.
really don't
But
either.
I'm not in a ton of leagues that do it, but it is not fun. It's not fun for me. You like it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, then what are we doing in GST?
Well, because
Come on.
we're playing it like it's a high stakes leagues and they
Well,
include it. But
you
we
can
could
you
we
can
could always
change
vote and
it.
get rid of
All
it
right. Well,
if
I didn't
everyone
get to. We
agrees.
didn't get to vote this year.
We didn't.
So,
No.
it's
Now you know
interesting.
how it feels when
Interesting.
someone is in complete control, like you are of this show.
All right, we're doing the water cooler. Get out of here. Taking your calls next. Oh, it is about that time. Time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. We're going through all the news and notes that you might have missed heading into week 4, and of course, answering as many questions from you guys as we can here. I will open up the phone lines 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. And as always, at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. We see some questions coming in, so we'll try and we'll save those. We'll get to those here in this segment as well. And then fantasylife.com have to point you in that direction. Sign up for our newsletter, 100% free in your inbox 7 days a week. And then go and use all of the tools that we have over there. The utilization suite of tools is amazing. And everything over there is amazing. We got projections for this week. We've got the start sit tool so you can sync your league, get the best advice based on that. And then our rankings are updated every single day. Everything you need to continue hopefully dominating. And if not dominating, then getting some of those wins in the weeks to come here. Just like Adam and I are here for you guys. So we've got the best listeners, Adam. And so we are absolutely here to help. News to go through, and then we'll get through some of these questions. I had something at the top that we didn't get to, and now I'm trying to. Oh, Terry McLaurin. How worried are we about Terry McLaurin? So I see last night, I'm looking through saying, okay, what do we need here for the water cooler? What should we talk about? And I see this report that says Terry McLaurin is not expected to have surgery. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'd hope not. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. So when we get to this point, Adam, where we're excited that someone's not going to have surgery, the concern level gets a little bit higher. I know this was reported by Mike Garafolo there from NFL Media, and he was the one that said he is not expected to have surgery in the near future as a result of the conversations where he was talking to different specialists for it's the core muscle specialist. But again, that's looking doubtful. We kind of already said going into the week that he's probably not going to be able to play this weekend, but for this game, them going up against the Falcons, more unlikely than anything else.
Yeah, that was definitely
That was
surprising because I
weird.
didn't even know surgery was on the table. That's the thing that was surprising. So, yeah, it's not good right now. You have McLaurin. You already know more than likely he's not playing this week for sure. And how much longer will he be out is the big
Yeah.
question. So, yeah, definitely concerning if you have Terry McLaurin right now. And for the Washington offense, which does not have a lot of depth, that's the one thing when you look at them. They cannot afford to lose players because they didn't have a lot of depth to begin with. And we talked about it when he was going through the contract issue of how important McLaurin was to this offense and why he had so much leverage because they really needed him. And now take him away, that's going to be a problem.
If we get Daniels back this weekend, though, and McLaurin is out, which that's the last part of that is looking more likely. Deebo Samuel, I mean, he's going to take all those additional targets. He already ranks 25th in target share with 23%. So if you have Deebo Samuel, that's I think a little bit of an upgrade when looking at the rankings because he already projects as the wide receiver 19. And again, those are projections. FantasyLife.com. That's 11.5 points, but that's not taking into consideration yet Terry McLaurin being out and Jaden Daniels being back. So I think he's a mid-range wide receiver 2 this weekend, if not high-end wide receiver 2, especially if we get that news. So Deebo Samuel, look at that.
Yeah, they really need him now, and they're going to have to find ways to get on the ball more often. Maybe you see some more runs as well. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be needed in this offense for Washington.
I need him in my fantasy leagues. So there we go. We can all work together here to get fantasy points this weekend, but just a weird, you said it. I mean, we didn't we didn't even think that was on the table for Terry McLaurin. So you're hoping for better news as the days and weeks go forward. 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk. You mentioned this one yesterday, just kind of forgot to get to it. But their general manager, John Lynch, said that he is not close. That was the quote, not close to a return. And he said, obviously it was a fairly significant injury involving a lot of different things in his knee. He said he's tracking well, but again, if you're holding on to him, hopefully it's just in that IR spot, that he's not taking up too much of a bench spot, or if he is, that it's not impacting you picking up guys off waivers, but not the best update that you want to hear for someone like Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. I say it all the time. These players coming off injuries, I think people get too optimistic and they think they're going to be back at the earliest point, and a lot of times it doesn't happen. So we heard a report though right before the season too that it could be anywhere from like week 5 to week 10. So I
That
don't
was
know
then
what.
they said that.
Right. So I don't know what people were
I don't know.
expecting. I didn't expect Ayuk to be back by week 5, and then
No.
even when he does return, how effective will he be? It's the same thing with Chris Godwin. If he does return this week, now he did not practice yesterday. They also have plans of not, having
Yeah.
him practice every day. But even when he does return, like what type of performance are we going to get? Because we go through this every single year with these players. Yet people continue to draft them early, thinking they're going to come back. So I'm not surprised by this, and I don't think you can have high expectations for Ayuk.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's just, again, we knew that it was going to be hard for him to come back within like week 5 was crazy. Week 10, we said, okay, 10, 11, maybe. But then it's the same thing. And you just said it. It's the same thing, even though obviously different ages, but it's the same thing with Chris Godwin. What we're talking about, both of them, we know that it's going to take time to ramp back up to get to 100%. They're not going to be able to go out there right away and just give everything, because they want to make sure they're good. So again, Brandon Ayuk, not close, according to John Lynch, their general manager. Looks like things are a little bit better for George Kittle, though. The hamstring strain he suffered in week 1, he's obviously not eligible to play yet. He's eligible to play following their game against Tampa, but they said that he's doing well. So there you go. I need him back in the worst way.
Hopefully, you hope that this is the minimum 4 weeks, 4 games since he's on IR. So that would put him on track to return week 6. So let's hope that happens because, yeah, that was
Brutal.
ideal situation for Kittle with everything going on. And you saw it in that game, the first quarter, 23 yards and a touchdown. You were feeling great. And then he goes down with an injury. So they need him back because they're really shorthanded. Yet somehow they are 3-0 to start the season.
I don't understand it. The Seahawks should have won
Potentially,
that game.
I mean, they definitely have a winnable game at home this week against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So
No
there's a
kidding.
chance they go to 4-0.
That's crazy. I can't even, the Seahawks should have beat them. And that's me and my bias coming out, but I still believe that. And I can't believe and shout out to them, to be totally honest, for being able to do all that with the lack of weapons around them. So Jawan Jennings, since we're on the 49ers right now, I will say too, I saw that he did not practice, and that was yesterday, Thursday. Again, we just pay attention to these. Today's going to be really telling. But I remember their beat reporters kind of saying that the shoulder injury is behind him, but not practicing on Thursday. Let's see if he can return to practice on Friday and if he's going to be able to play. He could be worthy of flex consideration this weekend for sure, if he's able to go.
Yeah, when he's been on the field, he's been great. It's just he's been dealing with these injuries. So yeah, I think if he is out there, you're probably be playing him based on what you saw in the last game he played.
All right, continuing on here, and again, just some injury updates from practice. Today is going to be really telling if these guys can go. Davante Adams did not practice on Thursday. We know that he usually doesn't practice Wednesdays, so that one didn't really sound any alarms for us, but Adams has now missed the first 2 practices of week 4. So when I see that, Adam, to me, I say that that's putting him on the wrong side of questionable with some of these injuries. This is a hamstring for him. We know what hamstring injuries do to any player. So again, you hope that he's able to go. They're playing against the Indianapolis Colts. They're at home in week 4. But if he can go, he's a wide receiver too for you. You just want to see him practice very badly today.
Yeah, he's a veteran, so sometimes they'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, especially with a hamstring issue, an older player, you want to see him on the field today. So clearly, today's practice will be key. If he is out, then it's time to worry a bit. Either way, if you do have Adams, anytime you see something like this, you should always go, okay, if he's out, what am I going to do? Have a plan.
Yeah. My plan is to cry if he doesn't play. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Some of my high stakes
That's
teams
not a bad
are
one.
not. I looked and I did not realize how many in those FFWC, FFPC drafts that I did, how much I took of CeeDee Lamb, and then I looked again. I've got one with CeeDee and Devontae this weekend. I need him to play in the worst way. I'm sure everyone does, but
Yeah, we're to that point right now
what are we
where
doing?
the injuries are piling up, and especially if you're in these deeper formats, you're going to be looking at some tough starts this weekend, especially next week with 4 teams on bye. It's going to get a little challenging over the next few weeks where depth comes into play.
Do you have a sick start this weekend that you're doing, or
Oh,
are you pretty good?
I definitely will. I'm gonna have to take a look and see, but I probably will have one. It's not
Yeah,
looking good for a couple of teams.
nope, it's not. It's not looking good. You guys, you let us know your sicko starts too. That's what Dwayne calls them in his article. I always make sure you go and check that out. It's great for the rankings, risers and fallers that he does. But yeah, it's gonna get pretty gross. I already said Rashid Shaheed. Don't love it. I'm sure there's far worse though going into this weekend with all these injuries. We just need him to stop. We say it every year, Adam, but it really does feel like this season is really bad to start this. Like really, really good players that we rely on are just down already. Sucks.
Not only that, it's the good players that we drafted thinking they would be good are not. Right? A
Well,
lot of
that
those
too.
players
Yeah.
late first, early second round, if you go look back at the draft, you're gonna be like, wow, these guys are doing nothing. So those are players that you're counting on, that you're putting in your lineup that just have not been productive and then dealing with the injuries. So it's been a challenge unless you've been fortunate to get all the players breaking out that are doing great. Uh, and that's probably not happening to many people at this point.
If it is, though, congratulations. You can tell that Adam and I are very jealous of that. And yeah, send us your screenshots. You're right, though. I mean, looking at the first 2 rounds, I'm looking at past underdog ADP, but I mean, it's not good. The receivers more specific, Nico Collins being right there. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., Jamar Chase now because of Jake Browning.
Even
You
Drake
said it.
London.
Even Drake London, you said it before too. CeeDee Lamb is hurt, so CeeDee Lamb was the wide receiver 2 off the board. Justin Jefferson still up in the air, but you don't love the starts that you got from McCarthy, and maybe Wentz is able to pull it together for them. But yeah, brutal. AJ Brown, middle of the second round, thought that was a steal. Not so fast. Not right now.
Yeah,
Brutal.
2 really bad games and then a good one. So they're
Ugh.
saying Jaden Daniels is not on the practice field with
Oh,
the other
jeez.
quarterbacks.
Right now.
Yeah,
Mm. So
we'll see.
hopefully,
Maybe he emerges out, but like I
I
said,
think
that line was a little. The line tells me that he might not play. Washington favored by 1.5 over Atlanta. I know it's on the road, but Atlanta has just looked brutal with Penix at quarterback.
yeah. And I think too, based on what we saw last weekend, right? The commanders might be looking to themselves and saying, okay, it not necessarily not always going to be pretty. But from what you saw based on the other backup quarterbacks as well and how bad some of them did, maybe they're just looking and saying, you know what, we can do this one more time with Marcus Mariota. Because the one thing that you just don't want to do is rush anyone back like Jaden Daniels, who we know has the dual threat abilities, who we know can be just really good on the ground. But if he's dealing with an injury, they want to make sure that he's back to 100%. And so they're probably being very cautious with him as well. So Marcus
Yeah,
Mariota, hopefully you kept him.
yeah, mobility is very important for
Mhm.
Daniels, a big part of his game. So you got to make sure he's completely healthy before you rush him back. We'll see. I mean, maybe again, that's sometimes reporters just saying, yeah, practice is starting and, Daniels not here. He could emerge. So we'll have to wait till complete practice is in.
Yeah, Mariota gave us 207 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and then 40 rushing yards, right? It was, and then a touchdown on the ground as well. Again, not pretty the whole way through, but you still got 20.3 fantasy points from him, which you'll take every single day of the week. And so again, like you said, we just have to be careful with that injury with Daniels. It's a knee injury, but week 4 maybe they turn back to Mariota one more time, hopefully one more time, but we'll find out there. All right, you wanna take some phone calls, do some questions?
Yes.
Yes, look at that enthusiasm, everyone. He is. Adam's ready to go. All right, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app, and that is the phone number to call in. Let's go out to John in Canada. John, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, how's it going today?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
I I got a little bit of a conundrum when it comes to some of the wideouts I got. I feel like I'm pretty stacked. I'm in a 14-team non-PPR league, and I'm sitting with Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Emeka Egbuka, and Trey Tucker. I'm hurting at running back, so I'm just kind of wondering who I might offer as trade bait or who I should be keeping in my lineups.
Mm-hmm. Anyone in particular that you're thinking about going to get? Like, is there some particular team that's maybe not had a ton of wins that you can maybe dangle someone out there for, or just any running back for you?
Really, kind of any.
Okay.
I have Kenneth Walker, and I just picked up Woody Marks because I lost Najee Harris.
Okay, so it is bad then. The one that I think that Adam, we talked about before earlier. I don't know how many people are going to take on Trey Tucker, based on what we've seen, but he could be someone where you are selling high and thinking that this is not going to continue to happen. But other than that, I mean, Devontae Adams. I don't want to give up a lot of these guys. Neighbors,
Well,
Egbuka,
if you
more
want a running
specifically.
back, you're
I
going to have
know.
to give up someone.
I
So
know.
I see that's the thing. We can't just throw names out there because those teams might not be a fit. And that's the thing where I think people they go wrong with trading. This is the way you do it. You go to your team's roster grid, you go through the rosters, and you see, okay, who has some depth at running back? Who needs a receiver? That's a fit. So that's where you start. And you go, okay, which running backs do I like? And then you try and form a fair trade. I will say I think trading is so difficult in fantasy football because if people with running back depth, they don't want to make trades. Because I've always said this. You have running back depth until the weekend starts. And then someone goes down, and now you don't have running back depth anymore. So you have really good receivers. People would want to acquire several of them. So I think you just need to go and see, is there a team? I don't know how you have these receivers in a 14-team league.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, this is insane. So what I would do is just, again, see if there's a team that has a little depth at running back, which is kind of challenging in a 14-team league, and then make an appropriate offer. Because we can give you a bunch of names, and you go to your league, and those guys can't trade those running backs. So we're kind of not helping you.
Yeah, and we've said it before too. The teams that are struggling, though, the teams with no wins, one win, you can try and take advantage of that too, because they know that this is kind of a make or break week, and it's not necessarily that if you lose this week, then you're not going to be able to make the playoffs, but it makes it such an uphill battle, Adam. So they are trying to get any way to get any kind of fantasy points they can. So if they're light at receiver and you see that team, no wins, one win, maybe you can try and take advantage of that too. But good luck, John. Let us know how it goes. 14-teamer with Jefferson, Neighbors, Adams, Egbuka, and then Tucker. That's impressive. I like that.
Yeah, how do you get Neighbors and Jefferson?
Well, obviously you just
unless
don't
they all went heavy running back
backs.
or took a quarterback.
Well, and if you're the other running back he's talking about is Woody Marks. Obviously, you just kind of punted at the running back position for a while, right?
Yeah, I guess that's
you have
what happened.
Walker. Still impressive. I still like it. Good luck out there, John. Let us know how that goes. I want to take a few more questions here just from X, a little more rapid fire here for the weekend. This one is from Dez, looking at starting Nix or Fields this weekend. We don't have an update yet on Fields, right? He was back at practice yesterday, which was good, but we need to see it again
Monday.
Today.
They play Monday. It sounds like he's gonna play. So I would go Fields if he's at. Well, I don't know. Would I go Fields?
Nix
against the Bengals.
Yeah, or against the Bengals.
Fields against Miami, though. Probably I would go Nix.
Just in case. That Monday game.
I mean, you'll know they both play Monday.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Oh, that's right.
You can wait.
Is that the last doubleheader game?
No, I think there's another one. I think I looked
okay.
ahead. I think it was late October. There's another one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would
know,
go Knicks.
See, now there's one in week 8. And this is going to be a major problem for you. No, it's not week 8. Was it week?
What time does it start?
It was definitely 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern.
10 again?
Here it is. Oh, you are in trouble.
What?
Monday, October 20th. Bucks Lions at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's great. Then your Seahawks host the Texans at 10 p.m. Eastern. So I am already expecting a replacement on this show Tuesday, October 21st.
I was here when we did the doubleheader last week or whatever it was.
I mean,
was
were
just
you
tired.
were you really here
I was
though?
here. I was here. I got
Okay.
everything done. I
Okay.
had an extra cup of coffee. The Folgers was ready and hot. That's brutal. Do East Coast people like the 10 p.m. starts though? There's
I
no
do.
way. Besides you don't 10 p.m. is when you wake up. Besides you, people that go to bed at a normal hour, they cannot like
No, I
those.
don't think they do, especially if they have to get up early for work. Yeah, they do complain about it, but
I mean, I was fine with the overlap that
no,
we
I
had
don't like
before.
the
You didn't
overlap.
like it?
No,
Oh,
man. I just
was
I want to
flipping back
focus
and
on one
forth.
game. We do this on Sunday. We have like 9 games at one. Nah, just give me this.
Alright.
I like the 7-10 split.
Adam's like, I'd
I'm
rather
not
go to bed at
enjoying
1 in
this.
the morning.
This 7:15, 8:15 this Monday. I don't like it.
Oh, see, I love that. I'm like,
No.
okay, we'll flip back and forth and figure it out. No, if you're on the East Coast, you have to tell us. There's no way that they like that. 10 p.m. is crazy. That's so late. You can't even enjoy it.
I mean, you're on the West Coast and you're
No,
complaining about
I'm
it.
fine. Well, that's because when do I go to bed? 9 o'clock, 8
Yeah.
o'clock. It's it's difficult for us out there. But that was the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. We're gonna continue taking your questions over there on X. Appreciate you calling in, John. Everyone else as well. We'll continue to get to those. Want to go through Go Hard or Go Home, presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade. See if you're starting these guys, if you're sitting them, and if you think that they are going to go hard for week 4. We're giving you those names coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here. We are so excited to be with you on this Friday. And remember, we get to talk to Matt Forte here in the next segment, Adam. So make sure you stick around because that is going to be amazing. So excited to talk to him about just everything going on in the NFL and what he's up to right now. Again, this is Go Hard or Go Home, presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade, because they're the official drink of those who go hard for their league. I want to go more rapid fire here, Adam, and just see who you think is going to go hard for you if you're going to start him, or who you think might be going home. Starting with, Keon Coleman. You can go with Keon Coleman here. What are your expectations? 7 targets in the last 2 games combined, and it wasn't good. We got a little glimpse at the beginning of the season. We thought, wow, could this be it for Keon Coleman? But it's just obvious that Josh Allen and this team likes to spread the ball around. So you think he goes hard this weekend, or he goes home?
I mean, look, he is certainly tricky every single week because of the way this offense is. We saw the big breakout game in week 1, and that was just a situation where they were going back and forth. It was a close competitive game. That's not the case this week. So could he have a big game? Yeah, but am I counting on it the way they spread the ball around? No. So I'll say go home.
All right. Go hard, go home. Travis Hunter here. He has been not great for fantasy managers, to say the least. His offensive snaps, you've seen them drop from 62% to 60 to 53% last week. So go hard, go home might be just on the bench. Probably what we have to do right here.
Yeah, go bench. So go
Alright,
home.
go
Yeah, you can't start him right now. It is really bad. He's not playing enough. This offense looks disjointed as well. The struggles continue. So yeah, he's not playing enough right now, and it's just not happening for him.
No, it's absolutely brutal. Let me get you one that I think you're going to say go hard for. Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson this weekend. I mean, he has been Dak Prescott's one of his top 2 targets for 2 straight games here. We know they're going to be without CeeDee Lamb in this one, and for probably a couple weeks now. This Packers defense though is tough. So go hard or go home for Jake Ferguson.
No, you have to go hard for Ferguson right now.
Okay.
We know with CeeDee Lamb out, it's opening up more opportunities. He was already getting a lot, and we know this Cowboys defense is struggling. You expect the Packers to put up points, so Ferguson is going to be a primary piece of the offense. Dak Prescott's looking for him a lot on these short throws, so he hasn't scored a touchdown yet, but he is piling up the receptions, which you love to see in PPR leagues.
All right, let's do one more here, and then we get to talk with Matt Forte. Let's do go hard or go home. Say good things about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones go hard this weekend. This is going to be a test, I think. I mean, obviously we expected the Broncos to be a test, and they walked away with that one with a win and good fantasy points from Daniel Jones. But what do you think? Go hard or go home this weekend for him?
Yeah, I think you're going hard. Daniel Jones
Yeah.
is playing very well right now. He gives you that ability to run. The offense is clicking. It is a more challenging matchup. We said that about him in week 2 against Denver, and he came through.
Yeah, it's I'm starting him, and I'm a little bit nervous, but he is getting my start over a couple other players that I said maybe I don't want to do it. I've started him over Kyler. That's one I'm feeling okay about, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
you should. I mean, it looked bad most of the game for Kyler. In the end, he came through with the 2
Yeah.
touchdowns and the rushing yards, but I would have went Daniel Jones as well.
All right, perfect. That was again Go Hard or Go Home here, presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade, because playing it safe is how you end up watching the playoffs from the couch. Again, from Mike's Hard Lemonade. We're going to continue on, guys. So excited to have the one and only Matt Forte joining us here. We're going to be talking to him about week 4, the season overall, and what he's been up to. So we're going to do that here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here, and we are so excited to be joined live right now with Matt Forte joining us. You guys already know him, legend, and we are so excited to have you on. Matt, how you doing today? How's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me on.
Of course, of course. I have to know. I told Adam at the beginning of the show. I'm going to start by asking if you play fantasy football. You know, if people ask you questions about fantasy football, because we're a fantasy station, so that's where I have to start off.
I get a ton of questions about fantasy football. I played fantasy football one time when I think it was 2010 maybe, and the NFL did an inter-league league for fantasy football, and I was mad because Maurice Jones-Drew, who is my buddy, like my sidekick, he picked me first overall, and I was like, bro, why do you pick me? I'm like, pick yourself. He chose me, so I would just mess with him like, well, you must think I'm better than you if you chose me in fantasy football. But I did not win the league, and actually, I think Robbie Gold, a kicker, won because they have a little more time on their hands. I had guys that were on bye weeks playing and all kind of stuff. I was focused on the season, so my fantasy league team did not do well.
I love that. That's hilarious. And the kickers, we talk about them, but you probably had a little bit more going on. But we are so excited to have you joining us here today. I want to start off with what you've seen from Caleb Williams, because for us in fantasy, he wasn't someone that you necessarily had to spend a high draft pick on. Last week, we see him in a really good spot, and he gave you a QB1 finish. It was the first game of his career so far where he's not been sacked. He was pressured the fewest times that we've seen. So do you think we've seen a change, maybe a little bit of shift with Caleb and this team going forward?
Yeah, there's been a slight shift. There's obviously some things to grow on. Nobody's perfect, but there is some growth that I have seen. His feet are more stable. Sometimes he does leave the pocket a little early, but at the same time, that's due to just kind of a fear of what has been in the past, where sometimes you get pressured on the backside or on the front side and you want to just take off and run. But Caleb is talented, man. He can make every throw. He's dynamic as a quarterback. He's really slippery in the pocket as well, as far as his escapability from sacks. So I'm whenever you see, which in the first quarter or the first half of the Vikings game, the pocket was really clean and he was making throws. He was really consistent. They were moving the ball down the field. But in the second half of that game, Flores turned up the heat with some blitzes, and that we didn't handle that well. So from now on, I expect that's probably going to happen. The Lions game was just rough all around. So just some things that we have to work on. Obviously, establishing a running game that's going to help him out as a quarterback. Running games help out any quarterback, whether you're Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or Joe Montana, whatever it is. Running games are going to help you to be a successful quarterback. And I think his mix and his vibe with Ben Johnson is going to be good, because last week some of the trick plays that they ran and some of the things that were dynamic to get the ball in the hands of other players, I like where they're going.
Like that.
A new coaching staff, a new offense. We've seen that throughout the NFL, and that's what's going on with Chicago. How long does it typically take to really adjust and get it down?
I will just say the easy answer: a long time. Because in my 8 years in Chicago, there was 5 different coordinators. We had 3 different head coaches and 3 different GMs. So I never got to see the finished product of when that kind of does turn the corner. But I did see, because I came into a team with Lovie Smith on there, who, when he first came in, he turned the corner pretty quickly by establishing who he was as a coach and also the defense that we had. So it does take time, and it takes more than, I would say, it takes more than 3 years, to really do that. There just has to be visual evidence of improvement, and that comes when you see less amount of pre-snap penalties, where the discipline on the offense and defense is really there. When you see improvement of scouting, where you're drafting the right guys. When you see improvement on the field and you're putting the parts and pieces together, because no team is exactly the same. Um, you know, the team that is around Patrick Mahomes is going to look different than the team that's around Caleb, or the team that's around um, Josh Allen is going to look different. So putting those parts and pieces together really takes time, and it also takes strategy and also an in-depth analysis from more than, I guess, just your scouting reps. I would say you should get some player input too, because those are the guys on the field as well. Like, what do you guys think? Like, what's gonna, collaborate together and not just be told like this is what you should do.
Again, we're talking with the incredible Matt Forte here. And Matt, I kind of wanted to ask you about, you and Chase for Business. You have always, we've known this, but you have that shared passion for supporting Chicago small businesses. We know that through your foundation. What's Your Forte Foundation? But you were telling us before the show that you're doing this speaking engagement. You're talking to 60 plus graduates right now. So just kind of what this engagement with Chase for Business has meant to you and what you guys have been up to.
Yeah, I'm here downtown Chicago at the Marriott Marquis, where they had the Make Your Move Summit for Chase for Business, and I spoke to the graduates of the Coaching for Impact Summit. It's a free program for small business owners who they get coached in how to be successful in business, in a small business. Where we know small businesses, they come and go, but it's really hard if you have a small business that has a niche space that you're passionate about, but that you are providing a service of some type that really helps people, or that people like. There's a strategy that needs to go behind it. You need guidance, because sometimes you can be in uncharted territory, and the next move could be detrimental or could lead to extreme growth where you become a big business at some point. And from experience, I got to speak to them not only from the business of professional sports, but from myself being a small business owner. When I retired, I started a clothing line called Workhorse Clothing, and it's been tough. It's been actually a lot of the things that I learned during football, of discipline, sacrifice, and perseverance, and being able to, like, I was always one of the guys when it came to athletics and sports, to do what no one else wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you wake up out of bed and it's like 5 a.m., it's like, I don't feel like working out. I would like make myself go do those things. And in business, it takes the same effort and accountability on yourself and leadership that it does in pro sports.
And I think I'll say this. I think it's cool because, obviously you had an impact for Chicago as a city, playing for their teams, but your passion to just supporting small area Chicago businesses. I think, just taking that from the field and just giving back. I just wanted to shout you out for that, because that's amazing.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's important. I've been given so much to the NFL is a great platform, and it'd be crazy for me not to give back to the community that's given me so much.
You obviously had some massive seasons, especially for fantasy purposes. I mean, you were targeted heavily almost every single year. One year you had 130 targets. The running back position has changed a little bit. You don't see that as much. How do you evaluate the running back position now compared to you in your prime?
Yeah, I evaluate it similarly, just because I was an every down, all-purpose running back. And I think running backs should, across the board, be evaluated that way, because what's required of you at the position is to be a runner, a catcher, and a blocker. Otherwise, you hinder yourself, you hinder the offense, or you don't get as much playing time as you could out there, because maybe you don't know pass pro and blitz pickup, or you can't read defense as well, or if you can't catch the ball, they're not going to throw it to you. So I think it should be evaluated across the board on all three of those aspects, because that's what really encompasses a running back. You're required to run and catch and block. So I think it should be, I look at it the same way, but not necessarily everybody has to do that. If you want to specialize in one or the other, that's fine, but you're kind of handicapping yourself when it comes to what you could be, or the potential that you could have.
All right, Matt, one more before we let you go, because I just want to know, do you see yourself in any running backs, and yourself in your game and any running backs here today? Is there someone that you like watching?
Yeah, I like watching a lot of different running backs. I say the smoothness of Alvin Kamara is something that I've seen in myself, where people are like it doesn't even look like you're running fast, but nobody's catching you. And then, pass catching ability. There's a lot of guys who run good routes out there and catch the ball on screen plays and can be an impact, and it can split out. There's, even the Bears' own DeAndre Swift, he can catch the ball and split and get out in the slot and things like that. Christian is a good running back, actually coming back off an injury, but last week made a big play on the screen play. And then the bigger running backs like, Derrick Henry, who is a bigger, taller running back, which that gives us a whole different style of running and a different mindset, because when you're tall at running back, guys go low and they, especially defensive backs, they try to take your legs out. You have to have a low center of gravity, which we're not used to because we're taller. So you kind of have to be mindful of lowering your pad level. That's what my coach in college used to always say: lower your pad level, get your pad level low. So because it can help you when it comes to balance and bouncing off of tackle or breaking tackles.
Amazing. Well, Matt, thank you so much for giving us your time. I know that you are so busy today and every day, but we really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right, there he goes, the one and only Matt Forte. We were so excited to have him on with us. We're going to continue on, Adam. Let's talk through our favorite flex plays for week 4 coming up here next. Are you trying to take your fantasy football game to the next level? You're drafting the top players, making those shrewd waiver wire moves, and maybe even pulling off those blockbuster trades. But what about the next generation of athletes? If you or someone you know has a high school athlete looking to elevate their game, then Premier National Sports is the team to help them through that entire process. Just like you rely on us at Fantasy Life for the edge in your league, high school athletes and their families can trust Premier National Sports as a recruiting and NIL resource. They provide personalized recruiting strategies and NIL education to help rising high school stars shine. So don't let their talent go undiscovered. Check them out and get in touch with their team today at premiernationalsports.com. That's premiernationalsports.com. Help them go pro so you can draft them in a few years. Oh, we sure do. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Matt Forte is so cool. I wanted to be like, do you want to close out the show with us? Keep talking? Are you sure? No? Ugh, that was awesome.
No, definitely. And he was a fantasy force. Like, he put up some monster numbers. He had a season of 130 targets. Can you imagine that? That's as a running back? Catching 102 passes. I mean, alone, his stat line that year, you'd be like, oh, that's a wide receiver. 102 receptions, 808 yards, and then 1,038 yards rushing. 6 touchdowns, 10 total touchdowns that year. So, yeah, he had some, especially in PPR. He was just so heavily involved in the passing game. And, yeah, I mean, you don't see those total backs anymore. No. Right? Because, like, as good as Derrick Henry is, he's not involved in the passing game.
That's why I wanted to ask him, if he saw himself in anyone's game right now. But of course, he said Kamara, he said a little bit of Derrick Henry, Kamara with the smoothness, and then CMC. Like you're right, you really don't get that anymore.
CMC and Bijan, right? Like those are two guys heavily involved on both. I mean, Kamara was towards the end of his career. We'll see if he gets traded.
I think. Is there not a chance that he does? And if it's to anywhere, I mean, would it not be the Chiefs if they're really trying to go for a move?
Matthew Berry and Paul Charchian brought that up on our show this week. Kamara to the Chiefs. I mean, it would seem like an ideal fit.
Well, listen, Pacheco's just I'm
don't remind me.
Well, listen, I drafted him too, but it's just bad. He's splitting snaps, he's carries, routes, Kareem Hunt. I mean, it's just one of those things where his targets have declined each week. I don't know if at one point, Adam, we don't see Brashard Smith go out there and get more work because
I do think the offensive line's a major issue. It seems like no one is getting any room to run. It's just Mahomes when he scrambles, but they might have to. I know people have been stashing him in deeper formats, but that might be, they're going to have to figure something out because they can't continue to do this. It's a mess in that backfield. Again, that offense really is a problem right now.
It's like shock. I don't know, maybe not shockingly bad. Maybe people saw it coming, but I don't know. It's for him to not even have, he hasn't even given us 6 fantasy points. He's not even gotten to 6 fantasy points in a game this season. So you're obviously, I mean, you don't need us to tell you that you're not starting him, but I thought it would be last week going up against the Giants, and it wasn't.
Yeah, you wanted to see something. I mean, he did average 4.5 yards per carry in that game, 10 for 45. But again, they're using Kareem Hunt near the goal line. And it's surprising only because the way they talked him up this offseason
Yeah.
and what they didn't do anything to address the backfield. So that led me to believe, okay, the comments that they're saying that he looks better, he's got more burst. Okay, then there's a chance here. And Elijah Mitchell they brought in. He hasn't obviously not been involved, and we know Kareem Hunt what he is. Nothing special. He's not going to break any big plays. But based on what they did, and then not draft a running back till 7th round with Brashard Smith, it's like okay, I guess they believe Pacheco is fine. And through 3 games now, Chargers, Eagles, tough matchups, but Giants, and they don't seem to be willing to give him more touches. I don't know. Yeah, it's really frustrating if you drafted Pacheco.
Yeah, it's not good. But will it may like you said, maybe we see a shift in or a trade. I mean, we'd have to imagine that Alvin Kamara's on the trade block once that comes up. But he's one of them. I don't know if I don't think Brees Hall still, but that was one that we heard in the offseason was
Well, he's not
Brees Hall.
signed, right? He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, he is a free agent. I don't know. I don't know if the Tennessee Titans, if they keep going the way they're going, if we don't see Tony Pollard move, I don't think that's as sexy of a name as when you hear Kamara or maybe even a Brees Hall. But I don't know. 0-3, it's not looking great. You just hope that they get a little bit better.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. We'll see this week against the Texans, where they're big underdogs.
Yeah. What about Achan? We wouldn't see Achan move.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that's the ETN. I don't think we'd see him move either. But they did draft Bashal Tutin.
Yeah,
But I don't think we see that there. It'll be interesting.
Not.
Probably not. But Pacheco, please, friend of the show, fan of the show. I hope if you're listening, we just fantasy points. Any way you can, we would appreciate it. But you are obviously not going to be starting him this weekend. Speaking of Tony Pollard, I mean, I know we just said 0-3 Tennessee Titans. It's not looking great. Tajay Spears is still on IR. Is he a flex play for you this weekend or no? I mean,
yeah, the volume is
there.
You would want more receptions. I think that's been the biggest disappointment so far is he's not been involved in the passing game, and especially since they've been trailing so much. Doesn't look like Cam Ward is looking to check down to him. He did have 2 receptions last week for 4 yards. He has 3 receptions on the season for 43 yards. The yards per carry haven't been great. He did find the end zone last week, but, he's got 18 touches, 20, and 19. Anytime you have a running back getting that much volume, they're going to find a way into your starting lineup, and you just hope that a bigger day is coming for Pollard because with all that volume, it hasn't led to much.
Nope, it's been disappointing to say the least. Want to go through more of these flex questions here and then questions over on X at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. I see one here from Mac saying flex start this week, full point PPR, J.K. Dobbins, interesting, or Zay Flowers, who Zay Flowers has given fantasy managers some of those big games, but I think when I put it into at least the start sit, and I'm curious what you think, Adam, it's saying Zay. 14.5 weekly projection, 12.9 for J.K. Dobbins, but you like the matchup going up against Cincy for Dobbins and the Broncos.
It is a good matchup for sure. We know that Flowers has the higher ceiling, obviously. Yeah. He's coming off a down game, but he was heavily involved. The key is you need the Ravens involved in a competitive game. It should be. Man, it's hard to go against Dobbins, though, with the volume he's getting right now.
I know.
I would go Dobbins. I do think it's close. Again, Zay Flowers has looked really good. The Chiefs' defense had good. As bad as their offense has been, the defense has been pretty good.
Yeah, I see another one, and I agree with you. It's again at fantasylife.com. You can go sync your leagues, and it gives you the perfect advice, or hopefully good enough advice for you for your start sit presented by Xfinity. But yeah, J.K. Dobbins, it's just that matchup they need to get right. It's one of we talked about that early in the show for the Broncos, but this is the time to do it going up against that Bengals defense. I see another one here. Looking at full point PPR, need a flex, Romeo Doubs or Jacoby Meyers. again, I understand because we talked yesterday and said, hey, is this the time that you can start any single receiver from the Packers because they're going up against Dallas? That included Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks. I think in this one, though, I would still go Jacoby Myers. Would you?
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
we do expect these Packer receivers to have big games. The question is who? Definitely looks good for Matthew Golden. And yeah, this is probably the highest Dobbs will be of any week potentially this season because of the matchup.
Yeah.
But Jacoby Myers has the Bears too. We know that they're really hurting on the defensive side. So I would go with Jacoby Myers there.
Last one here, looking at Swift or Egbuka in the flex, full point PPR. Egbuka.
Yeah, the only issue with Egbuka is you hope that he doesn't see too much Quinyon Mitchell because that would be a tough matchup. It looks like I did see Godwin was at practice today, and he is
Okay.
on track to return. Now, again, I don't think he's going to play a full complement of snaps, so you have to hope that they move Egbuka around so he avoids that tough matchup. But yeah, I would go with him because
Yeah, I like him more.
he should see the targets with Mike Evans out.
Yeah, he definitely should. It's going to be a great weekend of games. Again, remember when you're setting your lineups, just set them now, today, tomorrow, whatever it is, because you've got the early morning game on Sunday. So that is the international game going up Vikings Steelers. So make sure you do that. And we should have some pretty good games. Who'd you end up picking in Survivor? Tell me all your secrets.
I didn't make my final decision yet. Look at you trying to.
I know.
Trying
Just,
to.
you know what?
So
I'm
who'd
just
you
doing my
go with?
I haven't made my final decision yet either, Adam. So I think this might be the week that I do the Bills, though.
Okay, I used the Bills in one. I think the Lions.
I
I'm
haven't
looking
either.
at potentially the Patriots. I know that's risky.
Ooh, the Patriots.
Yeah, at home against
Interesting. I
Panthers,
like that.
maybe.
Hey, who wins? Ravens, Chiefs, too.
I
just
think the
straight
Ravens
up.
are better.
So
I
they
think
win?
they're better. Yeah, I think the Ravens
Okay.
win. Yeah.
All right. I like it. Again, set those lineups. Go to fantasylife.com. Use that code SXM20. Gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life subscription. You got RotoWire Fantasy Sports Today coming up next. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Have a great, safe weekend, and we will see you on Monday.